Hey, I'm RejectedShotgun. So in my last video, I was talking about the leaked loot boxes known as the Archives loot boxes that were discovered on the Overwatch PTR. Well, that all seemed to point towards a new event being the successor to last year's Uprising event, and I encourage you to go check out that video as it's going to tie in a lot to what I talk about in this video. So it's been discovered that a soundtrack for Overwatch that has never been heard before was played in the Overwatch League itself, and during the playing of this song, a lot of people in the chat were trying to realize, like, what is this song? Where is this from? I've never heard it before, and it's really good. And it seems that nobody was able to figure it out, implying that this was a brand new song that has never been heard, but it's straight from Blizzard. And the cues in this song seem to heavily imply it is actually from this new Uprising 2018 event that ties in with these Archives loot boxes. So without any further ado, let's jump right into this. So in my last video, when I was talking about the Archives loot boxes, I showed you why the Uprising cosmetics were inside of these so-called Archive loot boxes, and the reason was because the Archive loot boxes are for the new event that is going to be based on the Overwatch lore, and that should be the next event coming in just a couple of weeks. So, we've got this brand new event that's somehow based on the Overwatch lore, and then, suddenly, in Stage 2 of the Overwatch League, we hear a soundtrack that is not part of any of the current Overwatch maps or part of any of the Overwatch themes that have ever been heard before, implying this is a brand new song developed by Blizzard for something. And it's pretty clear that this is not part of any Overwatch League exclusive soundtrack, because there's only one Overwatch League soundtrack that I'm currently aware of, and this one does not seem to tie into it or play at any critical moments in the Overwatch League at all. In fact, it seems that Blizzard just kind of threw this in there just to see how people would react, as it was placed in the Overwatch League at an intermediate point. So I've talked a lot about this song, so instead of me talking about it, I'm going to give you a chance to listen to it for yourself and hear how it sounds. So give it a listen. So when you hear that song and that soundtrack, you might realize it sounds a little bit like the song that played in Widowmaker's actual cinematic short. And it actually does have some cues from it, and I would go as far as saying this song is a remix or a rehash of the Widowmaker short soundtrack. But if you listen carefully, you can tell it's very much its own thing and something new. So the fact that it is a little bit of Widowmaker vibes in there, and Widowmaker is a member of Talon, starts to imply a little bit that perhaps this new event, if this soundtrack is from the new event, is maybe Talon based. Talon being the opposite of Overwatch. They're kind of like the dark Overwatch. It's a league of villains, if you will. So Talon characters have been making their way into Overwatch's roster for some time. It started when we got Doomfist, and then after that we got Moira. Both of those are Talon characters that complement both Widowmaker and Reaper, meaning that we now have a large roster of Talon characters in Overwatch. Now, last year during the Uprising event, we got to see what the Overwatch organization was doing on one side of a major skirmish inside of King's Row. Well, considering that this is the next year and we've got quite a few Talon members available as playable characters in Overwatch, and this brand new soundtrack is coming out, and it sounds like it's tied in with Widowmaker's theme, and it sounds a bit like a Talon soundtrack, it seems that all the pieces are starting to fall together for a Talon event. Not an Overwatch event, but a Talon event, meaning we might be getting a playable event with characters featured like Doomfist, Moira, Reaper, and Widowmaker. So it's really interesting here to hear the cues in this song leading up to such an interesting and kind of evil sound. So this is all starting to shape up into a picture of something very interesting, an event unlike any other event we have seen in Overwatch, one focusing on the villains rather than the heroes, but still sticking with the theme of last year's Uprising, whereas we have a lore-based event where we see the story of Overwatch developing before our eyes. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this is implying more towards a Talon-based story event in Overwatch, or is this perhaps just a soundtrack that we have yet to see in the game, maybe part of a new map, something along those lines? Let me know what you think in the comments. And be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and if you want to see more Overwatch content like this, don't forget to subscribe. That's all for today though. I will see you guys in the next video.